Good evening and salutations, my GGs. So, after the scene with Finn and Alexis, talking about Gregory, talking about her law license, he goes to the hospital and he runs into Liz. Here's the thing about this scene. He apologizes for the way that he behaved, right? I didn't mean to sit there and talk to you the way I was talking to you. I understood you were coming from a good place. And this, that, and the third, I'm sorry that all wound up happening. I knew that you were just, trying to look out for me. You would think that understanding that he probably had probably the worst day that he can have in his entire life, that she wouldn't have came down so hard on him how she did, right? Because she was like, well, I've never seen you act this way. Well, yeah, his dad just died. Like, I should tell you the truth, no one would sit there and just act like that without something devastating happening in her life. So why she said that was just beyond me. And then she talks about, well, I was just there to help and stuff like that. And I'm like, I don't really understand. He just explained, because she was like, well, I just don't understand why you were acting this way. And it's like, he just explained that in his apology. What are you talking about? I just didn't get that level of her going that hard and then questioning, like, well, why would you sit there and do that after he just explained that? Like, it didn't really make a lot of sense. And it just kind of came across as annoying, right? I understood where she was coming from as far as the whole Violet thing or whatever, but at the same time, it's like, you need to slow your roll a little bit. You are her aunt. You're not her mother. You don't have any custodial rights. You need to sit there and slow your roll a little bit. And then even when she saw him the second time, after he talks about the will reading, she's like, does Violet need to be picked up and stuff like that? And like, you can see that he's in a better place. So if Violet needs to be picked up, there's other people that can do that. Like you're inserting yourself a little bit too much. And it's just something away. It's something about the way that she's just coming across. Like one of my subscribers is snipped there saying that she came across as judgmental the first time, and I didn't see that. I didn't think that she was being judgmental. Today, yeah, it started a little bit, and it was just like, do you not understand where he was coming from? I don't get that. You've lost people in your life too. So I would sit there and think you would have a little more grace in this situation. Now, speaking of Alexis, after Alexis talks to Finn, talks to Diane about Gregory, about a law license, Ferguson, and she's just annoyed at this whole thing. She's annoyed because she's like, this guy is coming at her sideways. And in reality, it was Harmony that wound up killing both of the brothers. So it's like, why is this dude coming so hard after me for? Which I completely understand. But then she starts talking about Ava, right? And at some point, she winds up confronting Ava, and she's like, why did you do it? Why did you sit there and file this complaint and stuff like that? And it's like, but you already know the answer to her. So what are you going there for? And of course, she tells her what she already knew because of Julian, because of the way that she felt that Julian got hurt by her. And then she's like, listen, at the end of the day, I didn't do this. You did it yourself. You're the one that sat there and committed perjury. You're the one that got your law license taken away because of that. And she even says towards the end, she's like, did I say anything wrong? She's like, no. I'm like, okay, then what's the problem? But then, Alexis like, I'm coming at you because of your cruelty and because of your deflection because of the way that you sit there and deflect the truth or deflect accountability or something. I'm like, are you serious? Did you really just sit there and say that she's deflecting accountability when you're coming at her? This is this is the same problem that I had with Carly when Carly came after Nina for the whole insider trading thing. It's like, yeah, you're upset with her, but you're the one that wound up committing the act. This lack of accountability is something that's just like, how could you be this stupid? And especially Alexis. Alexis is supposed to be the smart, top-notch, educated attorney, and yet you're just sitting there saying the stupidest things that's coming out of your mouth at the same time. I don't get that. Now, Ava was making the rounds, and while Nina and Maxie are sitting there talking, Crimson business, Ava walks in there, and Ava's like, she has a problem. And it pretty much had to do with one of her clients not being featured on Crimson. And Nina being like, well, I had to sit there and have space for Willow's feature or whatever, so I couldn't put her in there. They go back and forth. Ava says some hurtful things about how at the end of the day you have nothing except for Crimson and walks away. And Nina is just pissed off. And she's all like, oh, I'm a fashionista and I set trends and stuff like that. I'm like, well, you're doing too much. Just stop. Like, just stop. At the end of the day, Ava did this to herself. She, the only person who actually is a friend to her at this point is somebody that's literally 20 years younger than her. So, in all reality, she don't got that much going for her life either. So you can kind of take some of the stuff she's saying with a grain of salt. But Maxie's like, why'd you bother to antagonize her and this, that, and the third? And what it really came down to is tit for tat. Because she was like, hey, listen, did you want a divorce? Do you not want to sit there and be this chick's friend anymore? Didn't you want to didn't you want to sit there and get rid of the hotel? So why bother to sit there and put any more energy into Ava? That's the thing about Nina. Nina's the type of person that once you go at her, she's going to go back. Instead of just sitting there just moving on and letting go. Then they also talk about Drew and Willow and everything like that. And the conversation just kind of gets a little downhill from there. While Josslyn's sitting there filling Trina in on what wound up happening to Dex and what Sunny did, Ava comes in. Ava's all like, oh, you shouldn't be sitting there spreading like lies and gossip and stuff like that. And Josslyn's like, but it's true. So Ava starts being all like, oh, well, you didn't really see it. And, Christina's pregnant or hormones, this, that, and the third. They start going back and forth. Trina's kind of stuck in the middle because Ava is like a mentor to her. And Josslyn is her best friend. So she's like, how about we just sit there and just kind of chill out a little bit. Ava and Trina have this very weird relationship when you stop to think about it, right? I get it. She used to be part of the crime family. She's not anymore, right? But part of me sitting there looking at that, and I'm just like, your best friend is Joss, and at one point, Ava, is partly responsible for Morgan's death, and that's her brother right there. So sometimes when they sit there and talk, I totally forget about that, and I'm just like, how are you still so cool with this chick, knowing what she did to your best friend's brother? Like, how do you just sit there and just, like, I get you weren't in Port Charles or whatever the case might be, but like, why do you not sit there and look at him being like, damn, you really effed over my friend majorly. Like, her brother's death is partly on you. Now, unfortunately, the rest of this episode kind of goes a little downhill, somewhat. Drew talks to Willow about running for congressman, and the more that they talk, the more that Willow sits there and tell Drew what kind of good he can do, and the more it convinces him to, actually run for congressman. Of course, because it's politics, people love to sit there and throw your dirty laundry in your face. And, one of the things that, Drew was meant to talk about was the insider trading thing. And Willow was like, well, you took accountability for it and you paid for your crimes. And it was like, most people spend 5 years in jail minimum. And you spent 3 months. So, how much accountability did you really take as opposed to what you probably should have served? Just throwing it out there. And then there was the scenes with Brooklyn and Chase, which, to be honest, I didn't really care. Um, she was supportive, so I mean that's cool and everything. But most of the time when they were sitting talking, I was just kind of looking at my phone because it just I generally did not care. I also did not care about the will reading that wound up happening. Chase is the head of state or something. Violet has Gregory's books, and I have no idea what Finn has. And to be honest, I don't know if anyone actually cares. Um, yeah, I think that's about it. Now, one of the things I saw in the previews, what I thought was just somewhat laughable, was Dex that they're talking to somebody, talking about, oh, if this is an ambush, I'm not going to sit there and take this, lying down. I'm like, but you allow Sonny to sit there and beat the living hell out of you. So I don't get it. I don't understand that. Like, this is another reason why it just didn't make a lot of sense. But it was like the beating was supposed to be so he can eventually get back with Josslyn, right? Because even the first time when Sonny came to his place and Dex had his gun, he was like, "Hey, listen, if you're gonna sit there and take me out, I'm not going down easy." Except when you allowed yourself to go down easy. But now you're sitting there talking about, "Oh well, listen, if this is an ambush, I'm not gonna sit there and take this lightly." Oh, GH writers. Yeah, I feel like that's about it. Can't really think of anything else. I feel like this episode just there's a certain parts that just lasted so long. It just felt like it was a longer episode than it needed to be, personally. But anyway, that's all I can sit there and think of. If I miss anything, write it in the comment section below. Better yet, come to the live stream tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We'll sit there and talk about all the shows, General Hospital, Days of Our Lives, Born and Beautiful, Young and Restless, and I will see you in the next video.